Heading away this weekend, you might want to take a book with you because today is International Literacy Day. This year's theme is literacy and sustainable development. Joining me now is Tebogo Ditshego, CEO of Ditshego Media and founder of the South African Reading Foundation and Read a Book SA. Tebogo, good to have you back with us again. And why is this so important? How bad is the situation when it comes to not reading in this country?
Well, we're doing quite well. South Africa is sitting at literacy rates of over 85%. If you're going with Stats SA, it's 92.9%. So we're doing quite well. We're lagging behind countries such as Zimbabwe and Equatorial Guinea. We're number 3 in Africa. But I think we've got the bar a bit low. We shouldn't just look for basic reading and writing skills. We should go for functional literacy, literacy that allows you to function in society. And that's where we're kind of lagging behind with a lack of a book reading culture.
I was about to say, it's one thing to get children reading, but reading Archie comics and reading something substantial is quite different, isn't it?
It is different. Well, if you look at comic books and stories for children, I think that's where the reading starts. We need to encourage people to read that, such as, those tabloid newspapers that people read. They should read those things. Because they're going to slowly but surely graduate to bigger material. But I think what is very important in South Africa, and for us to emphasize, is only 5% of parents in South Africa are reading books to their kids. So 95% of parents are not reading books to their kids. And that is why we've got a situation where a child graduates in matric and cannot cope in tertiary because they don't have the basic foundational phase of reading books for leisure.
Do we even have a culture of reading, though? I'm actually so glad you mentioned the parents element. I didn't think of that. Is there a culture of reading in South African families?
There's a culture of reading, but there's not a culture of reading books. Currently, according to the South African Books Development Council, only 14% of parents read books to their kids. Only 1% of South Africans are buying books from bookstores. I actually wanted to say only 14% of South Africans are reading books for leisure. And now there was a research that came out last year in May in the UK Telegraph, which indicated that reading books for leisure is the single most important indicator of a teenager's future success. Right. And so we need to now get back to the culture of reading, read books to our kids, and ensure that there are leisure books within our households.
I'm sure you've heard of Gen X, Generation X and Generation Y, and it's the oldest school, I say that respectfully for anyone who might take offense, and the new generation. It's the iPad generation, the Samsung generation. Is that not a way to start promoting reading? Instead of giving a child a physical page book made of paper, get them going on the tablets that we see so many children sitting with. Instead of playing games, read a book. Is that a way to try and get them engaged?
Well, games are also important because it improves creativity and it increases decision making. But if you're playing games the whole day, it's a problem. Sure. And I think the digitization of books is very important. And I think that is the way we could go with e-reader libraries across the country, and also using our mobile devices, because if you look at cell phone penetration, more people have cell phones than they have toilet bowls in their house in terms of penetration. So we should go towards having books on cell phones, mobile devices, and making it more attractive to younger people.
However, let's go to the communities where we don't want to assume that they have cell phones. They don't have cell phone signal, they don't have iPads, they barely have access to books. How much is being done for those grassroots communities? Because they get left behind. Once you've missed that foundation phase, as you talk about, you never quite catch up. What's happening with those smaller informal communities? Are they getting access?
Not much is happening in informal communities. And I think it's very important for us to go and reach out to those communities, because those are the communities where they need to get this reading culture going.
How do you do that? What's your solution, Tebogo? How do you do that?
I think the most important thing is to ensure that we get the reading material on the ground. We need to start opening libraries across the country. If you look at the current stat, 85% of South Africans don't have access to a nearby library. We need to get that going. We need to ensure that every single South African has access to a nearby library. And then we need community outreach projects, which ensure that we ensure that communities utilize those resources that we are bringing in to those communities in those areas.
Tebogo, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed. I know you're going home to go find a book. What are you reading? Let us know. You can tweet us at eNCA News. We'd love to see what your choice is for the week, for Literacy Week. Tebogo Ditshego is the founder